Here in my hands, I am holding an article that was published by PJ Media. The title is Let's Be Honest, Candace Owens is a Jew-hating bigot. It was written by a rabbi, Rabbi Michael Barclay. So I read this article, and honestly, there are only two options here. Either this rabbi is genuinely ignorant of everything that I have ever said, in which case I'm happy to clarify it because he will be joining us on today's episode. Or the other option is he's completely aware of the things that I have said, and he is just a monster. Could you provide for us a definition of anti-Semitism?
Absolutely. I really appreciate that because I think that is the break. If we're not speaking the same language, where can we go, right? So there's a man, a blessed memory man named Lord Jonathan Sachs. He was the chief rabbi of England. He had a great line. He really defined anti-Semitism, that anti-Semitism is Jews have no right to exist collectively as Jews with the same rights as other human beings. It's kind of a weird statement. So let's just track back a bit to understand the history of anti-Semitism.
So I just want to yes or no. After watching that, I want to make sure we don't run out of time here. After watching that in context, do you think it is fair that you wrote, she publicly said that Hitler was okay? Hitler was okay.
Yeah. Yes, by bringing me even into the conversation, yes, I do.
So guys, I bring to you breaking news. Candace Owens and the Daily Wire have parted ways. Well, it was something long coming, right? Like anyone who has been following Candace Owens would know that it was just a matter of time before they let her go. Because since from October 7, her take on some of the issues regarding the Jewish community vis-a-vis America has been something of concern. And I do not think that she doesn't have a right to share her thoughts and opinion. That's not what I am talking about here. But what I'm saying is like, when you are in any community, right, it's always a good idea to understand the people in that community, to understand who they are, right, so that you can better navigate the community. So, Candace Owens has said things that people in the Jewish community have found very, very offensive and disrespectful. Now, whether Candace meant to offend them or not is irrelevant from the viewpoint of the people in the Jewish community. Now, let me just say one more thing, right? I am not a fan of Candace Owens, even though I watch her from time to time, and sometimes I enjoy what she says on her platform. I really do enjoy it. Some of the things she says are very, very interesting, and most of them are just plain garbage. But be that as it may, she has the right to say whatever she wants. That is what free speech is all about. And people in the Jewish community can get as offended as they want. It doesn't really matter, because I have realized that the Jewish community have weaponized every single thing anyone said to use it against them. If you criticize them for something they are doing that is wrong, they will weaponize that against you. They will say that you are being anti-Semitic. They will say that you are a supporter of Nazi Germany. They will say that you do not want the Jewish people to exist. When Palestinians protesters say that from the River Jordan to the sea, people in the Jewish community will call that an anti-Semitic slur or slogan, and that the Palestinians or Palestinian supporters do not want the Israeli people to exist. But you can see Israelis people themselves also making the same statement from the river to the sea. And I haven't heard anyone come out to call them out for saying such things. I haven't seen that. So before we continue further, I want you guys to watch this short video. And I would think that this video might have been the catalyst for Candace firing, where we don't know if she resigned or she was fired. We don't know that because according to the tweet put out by Jeremy Bowen, that is the CEO of the Daily Wire, he said the Daily Wire and Candace Owens have parted ways. So we don't know if she resigned or she was fired. But just watch this short clip.
Holy smokes, you're not going to believe this, but there is, in fact, a Diddy and Michael Jackson connection. Yes, the lawsuit that we have been covering and following, so much being revealed. You're not going to believe that somehow it is connected to Michael Jackson and his death. And I gotta be honest, I'm kind of terrified. I think this is gonna be the last day that I cover it because we're getting close to something that is very dangerous, I believe. The Diddy lawsuit is absolutely crazy. Full stop. What if I told you guys that it is about to get even crazier, that there is directly a link to Michael Jackson's death? I want to be clear that when everything was going on with Michael Jackson, the lawsuits, his death, I thought that we were in full conspiracy theory territory when people were saying that Michael Jackson was killed. I actually know a lot of people that are in the industry who believe that Michael Jackson was killed, and I just thought, it just sounds too whacked out to believe that somebody intentionally killed Michael Jackson. Of course, why would they do that? And also, I was believing the media. The media was extensively saying every single day that he was a pedophile, even though he factually won his case. I allowed my image of Michael Jackson certainly to be corroded by the media throughout that time period. I will fully confess that. Now, I want to remind you, before we get back into Michael Jackson, what we learned in the Diddy documents, just to very quickly recap. Well, if you read through them, again, these are all allegations, but you will come out of it understanding that there is allegedly some sort of a blackmail ring that is operating throughout Hollywood, and that artists that are producing music are actually being controlled via being induced into drugs at parties, and then what takes place is they're being recorded, and sometimes they're being recorded while they are committing sexual acts with minors. And something that we also saw in these docs is that these parties, at least a lot of them, are taking place in the Virgin Islands, which again just makes you go, what's happening here? Because Jeffrey Epstein, obviously, his home, or he owned an island that was just off the coast of St. Thomas. So we hear that again. I also am jogging your memory about the Bitcoin millionaire who, right before his death, found drowned, accidental drowning, even though he was fully clothed and had his wallet in his pocket, tweeted that the CIA and the Mossad were running a blackmail ring in the Virgin Islands. It is a fact, by the way, that Michael Jackson did keep a list of people in the industry that he said were his enemies, okay? On that list were people that all happened to be Jewish. So it was lawyer Gloria Allred, music exec Tommy Mottola, Rabbi Shmuley Boteach, you may have heard of him, and I'm going to mention him later, Israeli illusionist Uri Geller, and also Michael Jackson's former manager, Dieter Wiesner. Now, to be clear, it was Dieter himself that revealed that Michael Jackson had this list. But he says that Michael Jackson was just paranoid, that Michael Jackson thought that these industry people were all colluding to try to ruin his life and to take over his life. And again, that was just Michael Jackson being crazy and being a raging anti-Semite.
So this was a video she did last week, if I'm not mistaken, where she brought up some insinuations that there are a lot of things going on in Hollywood that are somehow connected to the Jewish people who are in Hollywood. And she brought up the question about Michael Jackson's dirt and asset. And she said that before Michael Jackson died, he was complaining about people rubbishing him, about people trying to steal from him. And those people who were trying to steal from Michael Jackson happens to come from the Jewish community, happen to be Jewish people. That was what she said. And also, when Kanye was going explosive, when Kanye put out a tweet about him going DEFCON, it was because some people with whom Kanye worked with were threatening him, were somehow blackmailing him, and were pushing him to the wall. And that was why Kanye decided to defend himself. And some of those people happens to be from the Jewish community, happen to be Jews. Number 3, now we have the whole thing about Puff Daddy Combs, and how he is being dragged through the legal system. So according to Candace Owens, all these things cannot be coincidental. They cannot just be a coincidence. There might be something sinister going on behind the scenes. There might be, according to Candace. And it just happened that people from the Jewish community, the Jewish people, are involved with this. So you can draw the line to really understand what was going on, according to Candace. So if I had to speculate, I would say that this was the straw that broke the camel's back. Yeah, I would think so. But you know what? I think that Candace Owens is a very talented lady. She has built an enormous following on social media, and she has her voice. She has people that love her. She has people that followed her. She is way, way bigger and important. I think she will survive. Now, I do not agree with every single thing she says. I do not. Like when she made this claim, or when she asked the question whether or not Emmanuel Macron's wife, the First Lady of France, was a trans or not, I felt like this was just crazy talk. And I felt that she was using her huge platform with a very huge following to spread crazy ideas. I do not really believe that she could do such a thing. But you know what? It's Candace. She can always disappoint you, or she can always go one more step further than you ever thought she could. That's her voice. That's her choice. And she did it. Up to her. It's up to her. Yeah. But for people trying to label her as an anti-Semitic for just saying her mind is totally wrong. Because I think that this whole anti-Semitism thing is really, really losing its power. If everything and anything can be construed as anti-Semitism, then where are we really headed? Where are we really, really headed? So, I will leave you with this quote. To know who control you, look no further than the person you are not allowed to criticize. Let me say this one more time. To know who controls you, look no further than the person you are not allowed to criticize. That is exactly the person who controls you. Let that sink in for a second. Let that sink in for a second. So to you guys out there, what is your take on all this? Do you think that Candace Owens was fired by the Daily Wire, or she decided to quit after facing a lot of backlash from people like Ben Shapiro? And also, doesn't she have the right to speak out her mind? Doesn't she have the right to say what she wanna say? Does anything related to the Israelis official or anyone criticizing the Jewish people is an anti-Semitic? Is that what it is now? Let us know in the comment section below, because like always, we love hearing what you have to say. Please do us a favor, like this video, share it if you may. Subscribe to this channel because that helps us a lot, and we shall ever be grateful to you. So thank you very much for doing just that, and like always, see you in the next one.